Hi, this is Miss Reiner, and today's lesson is about acids and bases. So the first thing I want to show you is a couple formulas. So looking at these formulas, could you find a pattern and divide the formulas into two separate categories? So maybe you notice that a couple of these formulas have a hydrogen in front. So maybe we'll lump those together. But then what does that leave the other three? The other three all have OH in the back of the formula. If you remember, OH is a polyatomic ion called hydroxide. So we can make one category of the compounds that start with hydrogen and one category of the compounds that start or end with hydroxide. So the first definition of an acid and a base, an acid will have a hydrogen in front. So the example I give is HCl. Starts with a hydrogen, so it's an acid. A base will have a hydroxide in the back, so KOH has hydroxide, so we're automatically going to assume it's a base just by looking at its formula. Okay, well, why would I need another definition? That's pretty clear to me, hydrogen in front or hydroxide in the back. Well, sometimes there are compounds that don't really look as clear as that. So water, for example. Water, as we know, is H2O. But water can also be written as HOH. So water has a hydrogen in the front and it has a hydroxide in the back. So theoretically, water is both an acid and a base. So then we have to look at, well, how does it react in certain scenarios to categorize if it's an acid or a base? So that's why we had to come up with a second definition. So in the second definition, an acid is a proton donor, proton meaning hydrogen, and a base is the proton receiver or hydrogen receiver. So the only way this is going to make sense is if you see an example of this in an equation. So take this equation. Okay, let's look at our first substance, HF. So what happens to it? So on the product side, it's just F. It lost the hydrogen, so that means it donated. So the donor is the acid. H2O becomes H3O, so it took in a hydrogen, or it was the receiver. So in that case, it's the base. One more example, just to solidify this for you. NH3 on our product side becomes NH4, so it took in a hydrogen. So in this case, this is the receiver. So H2O becomes OH. It donated a hydrogen, so that was the donor. So in this case, water is acting like an acid and NH3 is acting like a base. So just by looking at the formula of NH3, you couldn't really tell if it's an acid or a base because it doesn't have a hydrogen in front and it doesn't have hydroxide in the back. So that's why sometimes we need this second definition. Okay, well, a few years ago, a student of mine helped me come up with this, a tricky way, or tricky way to help you remember this. I'm going to sing this, but I'll make it quick. It goes, acid is the donor, base is the receiver. My ex-girl was too basic, that's why I had to leave her. So if you ever need a way to remember that, you can remember my little song there. Okay, some common characteristics of acids and bases that we're going to go over. Acids are usually found in food and drink. Bases are usually found in cleaning products. Acids will turn pH paper red, bases will turn pH paper blue. Kind of disappointed that we weren't able to do labs this semester because it's always fun dipping the pH paper in different substances and watching it change the colors. All right, conducts electricity, so acids and bases both conduct electricity. So if you put, a light bulb with the sockets at the end into an acid or into a base, it would light up. Okay, pH range, we're going to talk a little bit more about this on the next slide. Acids have a low pH, so anywhere from 0 to 6.9. And then bases are 7.1 to 14, so the upper end of the scale. Okay, what kind of taste do these have, if they're edible, which they're not all? Acids taste sour, so that might come to mind like a lemon. A lemon is acidic. Where bases taste bitter. So a lot of medicines are basic. So if you've ever had like cough syrup, it's really bitter and nasty, and those are what bases taste like. How do they feel? Okay, acids don't really have a specific feel to them, but bases are very slippery. So soap, shampoo, laundry detergent, bleach. If you've ever gotten bleach on your hands accidentally, you'll notice that it's really slippery and it doesn't come off well. Okay, well, what about, is it corrosive? So this is a big misconception. A lot of people think that acids are corrosive, which they are, but so are bases. So some bases that are really corrosive are Drano, which is, drain cleaner. Last semester when I had my accident of my first-degree burn on my hand, that was sodium hydroxide that got on my skin and burned. So both bases and acids can be corrosive and deadly. All right, so looking at the pH scale, starts at 0 and it goes up to 14. So the lower end of the scale, those are the acids. The stronger acids are towards the end of the scale, so like 0, 1, and 2. So it's always interesting to me to look at the different things that are acids. So stomach acid, lemon, vinegar, tomatoes, coffee, and milk. So remember, these are commonly things we can eat or drink, except battery acid. Don't do that. Neutral would obviously be water, so right there in the middle, 7. 7 is not considered an acid or a base. So 4, 5, and 6 would be considered like a weak acid because it's getting closer to that 7, that water mark. Okay, so milk's not really a strong acid. So if you spill it in your eye, it's not going to burn, but don't know why you would do that. Bases are the higher end of the scale here. It says alkaline, that's another name for base. And once again, the stronger end of the scale is towards the end here, 12, 13, 14. So drain cleaner, bleach, it's a strong one. Soap can be, kind of depends. Ammonia, that's a cleaning product, if you haven't ever heard of that. Baking soda. It's always interesting to me that blood is slightly basic. Antacids and other medicines are also basic. So kind of cool putting that into perspective. Okay, last thing we're going to talk about is how you would name these. So bases are super easy. You name the metal, then hydroxide. So the formula CaOH2 is just calcium hydroxide. So kind of treat it like it's ionic in terms of naming there. Acids get a little more complicated because there's 2 different types we're going to talk about. There's a binary acid. Binary just means 2. So it has a hydrogen and 1 other element. So if that's true, you're going to use the prefix hydro. You're going to use the root of the second element, and you're going to have a suffix. I know this sounds complicated. This is actually the easier version. So HF is an acid. It's binary because it's only 2 things. So use the prefix hydro. Fluorine becomes fluoric, and then you're going to add the word acid. All right, well, what if it's not binary? What does that mean? In that case, it's going to have a polyatomic ion in it. So the key thing to note here is you are not going to use a prefix, so no hydro. And then you have to focus on what polyatomic ion do I have. So in this first example here, CO3 is carbonate. So 8, that ending turns into ic. So instead of carbonate, you're just going to say carbonic acid. So no hydro. So just look at what polyatomic ion is it? Carbonate, 8 becomes ic. In the other example, we have chlorite, so ite becomes OUS. So chlorite turns into chlorous acid. So all you're doing here is changing the ending. So determine what polyatomic ion is it. Does the polyatomic ion end in 8? If it does, you're going to change the ending to ic. If the polyatomic ion ends in ite, you're going to change the ending to OUS. So you'll have some example problems of this. All right, a little humor to end our chat. You're a 10, maybe on a pH scale, because you're basic. Thanks for watching.